He walked into the Capitol Elegance like he owned the shadows. Boots polished to a ghost gleam, white gloves spotless as a fresh snowfall, that ceremonial M14 slung over his shoulder like an old friend's whisper. The hostess smirked. The waiter outright laughed in the power suits at the bar. They whispered bets on how long till security bounced the cosplay soldier out the door. To them, he was just some stiff in a relic uniform crashing their velvet rope world with his rigid spine in silent stare. One crystal glass clinked too loud in the hush as the head server sneered. "Sir, this ain't a parade. Lose the props or hit the pavement." He didn't flinch, didn't fire back, just sat in the dim corner they'd shoved him to calm as the tomb he guarded every dawn. But what the glittering crowd couldn't see, what not even the manager barking orders grasped, was that this man, dismissed as a relic, had sworn his soul to the unknown soldier, and the ripple of that oath, it was about to shatter their crystal empire wide open. Before we dive into the story, where are you watching from? Let us know in the comments. And if you believe that values like honor, courage, and sacrifice still matter, join us in keeping their legacy alive. As the sun dipped low over Arlington National Cemetery, casting long shadows across the rows of white headstones, Sergeant Elias Harlan stood at his post. The tomb of the unknown soldier gleamed under the fading light, a solemn monument to the brave souls who'd given everything for this land. Eli, as his family called him, was dressed in the full regalia of a tomb guard, the navy blue kepi hat perched precisely on his head, dark sunglasses shielding eyes that had seen too much. A crisp blue uniform jacket adorned with the silver insignia of the 3rd Infantry Regiment, the Old Guard. White gloves, spotless as fresh snow, gripped the ceremonial M14 rifle, its bayonet fixed and gleaming. His boots polished to a mirror shine, marked each step with the unyielding rhythm of duty. 21 forward, 21 seconds of silent pause, then the precise turn. It was a ritual unchanged since 1948, a tradition that bound him to the ghosts of wars, past and present. Elo's shift was ending, but the weight of it lingered like the chill in the autumn air. 28 years old, with a build honed by endless drills and a face etched with quiet resolve. He was the 3rd generation in his family to walk this path. His grandfather had stormed the beaches of Normandy, his father had patrolled the jungles of Vietnam. And Eli? He'd chosen this after his younger brother Tommy came home in a flag-draped coffin from Afghanistan. Tommy had been the dreamer, the one who had enlisted with stars in his eyes, talking about freedom and family. Eli had stayed behind, building a life in the civilian world until that knock on the door changed everything. The funeral, the folded flag, and his mother's trembling hands, it all led him here, to guard the unknown so no one would be forgotten. It was his sacrifice, a silent vow to honor what Tommy couldn't finish. As the relief guard approached with the same measured stride, Eli saluted, handed off the rifle, and removed his sunglasses. His eyes, deep brown and weary, scanned the horizon where the Potomac River met the sky. Washington, D.C. wasn't far. A quick drive across the bridge. He needed a meal, something simple, after 12 hours of standing stone still. No fancy spot, just a steak and a quiet corner to unwind. He kept the uniform on. It felt right, like shedding it would dishonor the watch just ended. Duty didn't clock out at shift's end. The Capitol Elegance was one of those places that screamed old money and new power, tucked into a brownstone Jonestown with crystal chandeliers dangling like frozen fireworks, and mahogany tables set for senators and lobbyists. The air hummed with the clink of silverware and the low murmur of deals being whispered over vintage Bordeaux. Eli pushed through the heavy oak door, the bell tinkling softly like a polite afterthought. Heads turned just for a beat, curious glances at the uniformed figure who looked more like he'd stepped off a movie set than out of a cab. He approached the hostess stand, his posture straight, as a rifle he just relinquished. "Good evening," Eli said, his voice steady and low, laced with that Midwestern calm from his Ohio roots. "Table for one, please." The hostess, a young woman with a practiced smile, glanced at his uniform, kepi, gloves, the works, and her eyes widened just a fraction. "Of course, sir, right this way." But it was Victoria Lang who intercepted, striding over with the confidence of someone who'd memorized the wine list backward. 32, sharp-featured, with auburn hair pulled into a flawless chignon, She wore the restaurant's black uniform like armor, her name tag pinned straight. Victoria had clawed her way up from busgirl to lead server, and she prided herself on reading a room or a customer like a menu special. This guy, he didn't fit. Too stiff, too theatrical. She sized him up in one sweep. The hat that screamed costume party, the gloves that looked ridiculous indoors, boots scuffed just enough to scream, not one of us. A faint smirk tugged at her lips. Evening, folks, I'll take it from here. She turned to Eli, her smile all teeth and no warmth. Sir, this is a fine dining establishment. You sure you're in the right spot? We get a lot of tourists mistaking us for the Smithsonian. Eli met her gaze evenly, unflinching. I'm sure, ma'am. Just here for dinner. Victoria's laugh was light, like shattering glass. All righty then, follow me. She led him not to the cozy banquets by the window with their views of gaslit streets, but to a dim corner table wedged near the kitchen doors. The air carried the faint sizzle of pans and the rush of busboys calling orders. She slapped down a menu with a flourish. Here we are, prime real estate, private, perfect for reflection. Her eyes lingered on the M14 slung over his shoulder, carried like an extension of his arm. You planning on using that salad fork, or is this some kind of reenactment? A few nearby tables, power couples in tailored suits, glanced over, whispers rippling like a breeze. Eli slid into the chair, laying the rifle carefully against the wall, its barrel pointed away as protocol demanded. Appreciate it, he said simply, opening the menu. I'll have the Wagyu steak, medium rare, and a coffee black. Victoria hovered, notepad in hand, her pen tapping like a metronome of impatience. Wagyu, honey, that's $80 a pop. You got ID for that, or is this on the house for props? She chuckled loud enough for the couple at the next table to shift uncomfortably. Eli's expression didn't crack. He knew this dance, the stares, the jokes. It came with the uniform, a symbol some revered, others dismissed as outdated pageantry, but to him, it was honor stitched into every seam. Just a steak, ma'am, thank you. She scribbled it down, muttering under her breath as she walked away. Tourists always pushing their luck. The kitchen door swung shut behind her, and Eli leaned back, exhaling slowly. The weight of the uniform pressed on heavier than the marble slab he'd guarded all day. But he wouldn't shed it. Not yet. Victoria weaved through the dining room like a shark scenting blood, her heels clicking against the polished oak floors. The Capitol Elegance was her kingdom, nights filled with tips from ambassadors and whispers of promotions from the owner. She'd seen it all. Celebrities dodging paparazzi, deals that could topple markets. But this guy in the corner? He was a glitch, a blue uniform fly in her caviar. She plated his appetizer, a simple arugula salad with shaved truffles, and carried it over with deliberate slowness, stopping to flirt with a table of hedge fund bros. First, let him stew. See if Mr. Dress-Up could handle the weight. By the time she reached him, the salad was wilting under the heat lamps, and Eli sat unmoved, his white-gloved hands folded on the table. The M14 rested sentinel-like, drawing sidelong stares from a silver-haired couple 2 tables over, the Pattersons, regulars, who'd lost a son in Iraq. Mrs. Patterson nudged his husband. Look at that uniform, dear. Old guard? Nah. Mr. Patterson, a retired colonel with a chest full of invisible ribbons, nodded slowly. Tomb guard, I wager. Boy's carrying it like it's his soul. Victoria set the plate down with a clatter, the dressing sloshing over the edge. Appetizer up, hope you're not allergic to fancy greens, wouldn't want to ruin the show. She wiped the spill with a lazy swipe of her napkin, her eyes flicking to his gloves. Those things ever come off, or is it like Batman method acting 24/7? Eli unfolded his napkin, placing it across his lap with precision. Looks good, ma'am. Thank you. He picked up the fork, the motion fluid, trained, every bite a reminder of discipline. But inside, his mind drifted back to the tomb. The changing of the guard ceremony at dawn, rain slicking the black granite, tourists huddled under umbrellas. He'd stood there, rifle reversed, bayonet down, as the wreath was laid. No flinching, no matter the storm. That was responsibility, not just a job, but a chain linking into every soldier who'd ever marched into the unknown. Tommy would have loved it. His little brother always joking about guarding the ghost. But Tommy's ghost was real. Buried under Virginia's soil, his sacrifice the reason Eli traded weekends for watches. holidays for solitude. Victoria lingered, arms crossed, her smile sharpening. So spill, what's the story? Civil War buff? Or you just lost a bet with your LARP group? A chuckle escaped, drawing nods from the hedge fund table. One guy, slick-haired and scotch flush, leaned over. Hey buddy, you got ammo for that thing, or is it all blanks? The room's murmur dipped, eyes darting like spotlights. Eli speared a leaf of arugula, chewing thoughtfully. It's ceremonial, sir, for the tomb. His voice stayed even, no edge, just fact, like reciting the oath he'd sworn at induction. Victoria's laugh rang out, tinny and forced. Ceremonial, right. Like those guys at the White House. Cute gig if you can get it. But seriously, this ain't a stage. We got real guests here, folks, who drop more on wine than most make in a month. She leaned